Hi guys, I'm Lisa. Welcome back to the channel. Now, most of you know my story. My case was about disability. Today I want to talk about something different. I want to talk about gender bias and SH, specifically in the science and tech sectors. But this is really going to apply to anywhere where misogyny, gender bias, and SH are supported by a culture that tends to shoot the messengers rather than addressing problems. Now, if you don't believe that misogyny is a problem in the space industry, here's Exhibit A. This tasteless tweet from billionaire Elon Musk, who owns Spacex, the darling of the private space industry these days. And Exhibit B from billionaire Jeff Bezos. Case closed. Now, I made a video about my SH experience at NASA, and I'll link to that in the description. Today I want to talk about Ashley KOSAK and Alexander Abrams, two young women who experienced harassment while they were trying to build their careers in the space industry. SpaceX has an impressive list of accomplishments. Falcon, Dragon, Starship. I'll put some links in the description. Unfortunately, their leader, Elon Musk, treats workers like we're disposable. Ashley KOSAK started her career at Elon's SpaceX as an intern, who was later hired full-time as a reliability engineer. And shortly after that, she was promoted to mission integration engineer at Cape Canaveral. And for Ashley, a young, female, Asian-American engineer, was a huge accomplishment. Right off the bat, Ashley had to start dealing with the unwanted advances of coworkers. It started when she was brand new and living in SpaceX intern housing. One of her housemates touched her inappropriately while she was doing the dishes. She reported it, but nothing was done to stop it, so she had to keep living with the guy. And the SH only escalated from there. More unwelcome physical touch, inappropriate advances on her Instagram, 4 a.m. drunk dials, even visits to her home uninvited. She reported it all to HR. And she expected them to take some action, of course, but they said that talking to the harassers about that kind of thing was very personal. So they took the chicken shit approach instead and recommended mandatory training for everyone at SpaceX. SpaceX CEO, GWYNNE Shotwell, also did nothing. Ashley tried everything she could to try to stop the harassment, reporting it to SpaceX's anonymous tip line, which she discovered wasn't anonymous. She even recorded a meeting once to get proof of the harassment, but when she took her proof to HR, they warned her that surreptitious recording was illegal in Florida. The harassment took a heavy toll on Ashley's physical and mental health, and she ended up having to take a leave of absence for a while because she had panic attacks so severe that they were causing heart palpitations. And about a week into that leave of absence, HR started calling, trying to get her to sign a non-disclosure agreement with a non-disparagement clause. Shortly after that, she quit. Meanwhile, at Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos wasn't doing much better than Elon. Alexander Abrams was the head of employee communications at the company, where she had an up-close and personal view of the company culture, one that she says had taken a toll on the mental health of many people at Blue Origin. She describes memos from senior management urging middle managers to push employees to their absolute limits and then throw them away when they broke. They said that kind of self-sacrifice was a small price to pay for getting to be a part of history. Now, when you tell these kinds of stories, somebody always asks, if it was so bad, why did they stick around so long? Ashley answered those questions in her story, and her answers are eerily familiar. A lot of victims have been victims before, victims of abuse, harassment, even assault. And when women like that get into a new abuse situation, they tend to tell themselves that they can handle it because they've handled worse before. A lot of us get through these situations by compartmentalizing. We try to minimize the negative and focus on the good stuff about our job. And Ashley summed up the good stuff about working in the space industry perfectly. Rocket science isn't something you learn overnight. It's a phenomenal field of expertise and a magic that you have to learn to harness. I took great joy in that. We were promised we could change the world, and every time we met a goal, it felt like all this pain, distrust, and sacrifice was worth it. Yeah. As human beings, our personal dreams tend to be intertwined with our work to some extent. Colonizing Mars is a big dream, and once you've been a part of making something like that happen, it's hard to let go. When I was 7 years old, I told my family that I was going to go to work for NASA one day because I wanted to find out what the stars were made of. When I was 22, I got to be a part of the Hubble Space Telescope team that answered that question. Since then, I've done so many things that were supposed to be impossible as part of the NASA team. There's no way I could just walk away from that. I'm sure a lot of you can relate. Maybe you chose to work at the VA because you want to help other veterans, or at the Department of Justice because you know how much justice matters. School teachers, nurses, firefighters. Or maybe your dream is just making a decent living for your family and getting your kids an education. I think employers should value workers whose personal dreams align with their mission. When we complain about something as basic as SH, they need to listen to us and stop it. I'm glad that women like Ashley and Alexandra are coming forward. I wish they hadn't had to go through all that, but they're doing us all a service by calling attention to the fact that the problem still exists. We need these billionaires who are talking about colonizing Mars to treat their workers on Earth better. In the brave new world, there's no room for discrimination, harassment, and abuse. That's what I got this week, guys. I'll see you next week. Till then, take care and hang in. I'm smart.